It is, according to my watch, 7:02 on Tuesday, May 28th. Welcome to the Douglas Library Board of Library Trustees meeting. We have a quorum. First thing on the agenda is reorganization. So, this is when we look at who has what job and we decide where we want to go from here.
Well, if nobody else wants to do it, I'll be the secretary. But I'll,
What do we need, the usual president, vice president, secretary, treasurer?
yeah.
So we're still doing treasurer, right?
Well, we haven't
Oh,
changed
yeah,
it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right,
So
so,
somebody has to do it in me. I'm not touching anything having to do with money, even if it's only symbolic. So we have a treasurer now? No.
We have no
that's
treasurer.
okay.
Are you still interested in being chair?
if you still want to have me, if you want to get rid of me, that's fine, but,
Yeah, for vice chair.
That's Ramona.
Okay.
If y'all have me. Absolutely.
Betty, do you want to be treasurer?
Do you want to check my math?
Suddenly it gets so quiet.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
anybody? 1, 2, 3, one of the elected ones. Do you want to be, anything? Or Barbara, you do,
I do the already, yeah.
yeah.
Why don't you be treasurer?
Yeah.
You already do half of. I mean,
It'd be so.
What's the extra work? It's like.
there's none.
No,
There's
it's
no
not,
work
but
for the
somebody-
treasurer.
But I signed, so somebody else should check.
Yeah, we actually
I think
should
that's a good
vote on
point.
that too, yeah. We also have to vote on that too.
Oh, well, now you're signing? Okay.
So, one of the 3 elected ones? Don't
For-
all raise your hand.
For
It's not
treasurer,
license.
for treasurer,
Yeah,
right.
because it's Justin that does the report, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll-
Okay.
They have a volunteer.
All right.
You don't remember who's who now.
and then, the check signing, is there a title for that or just the person who signs the checks?
Well, I think we do it in a separate motion.
Right, oh, okay, so that's not part of the reorganization, right?
What, like,
Okay.
what is that role, or what's it?
So once upon a time,
check sign.
anytime we expended money, I would have to bring like these vouchers that I pass around, and instead of just Barbara signing it and me bringing it to the next
Everybody
meeting for
would
everyone
have
to
to sign
review, a majority would have to sign it.
Okay.
So like we only paid bills right after we had a trustee meeting.
Okay.
And about 3 years ago, the state passed what was called the
The-
Municipal Modernization Act. And that took care of like 100 years of antiquated laws, including that everything had to have 5 signatures or more. And it's allowed 1 signatory on things like the vouchers.
Okay.
So we can
So-
you can designate a signatory and an alternate signatory.
Okay, so it's a signatory.
Signatory.
And the part of it, you still get to review everything at
Yeah.
every meeting.
Yeah.
But this
It's
allows
just-
Justin to bring it to Jean and get it processed.
Right,
Rather
there's
than
no
paying
lag.
late fees and, you know, all
Yeah,
kinds
you
of.
need to, right, you need to run.
And then I don't know if
those.
the payroll is part of that same thing.
Well,
Is
it went
was-
through several years before that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's fine.
It's been longer to,
So what's on the floor right now is the offices of secretary, treasurer, chair, and vice chair. So I would entertain a motion to accept those nominations.
I didn't catch who was vice chair.
Kate.
Okay,
And you're the
Oh.
secretary.
I am.
Can you
And-
just second it?
Betty's the treasurer.
no,
No.
Dana's
Dana
the
is.
treasurer. Dana's the treasurer.
Nice try.
All right, do we have a motion to
So
accept?
moved.
A second?
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, voted unanimously. So then the next part would be the signatory.
And do you do the payroll too?
Yes.
Okay. So I move that Barbara Van Riebe continue being the signatory for payroll and vouchers.
Can we get a new
Second in
a
command.
second in
Oh, yeah,
command? Because that was Ramona.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe one of you would like to do that. Dawn, you.
Sure, I could do that. That sounds pretty tough, but in case anything happens to Barbara.
Well, a case, like the payroll, it has to be every other Wednesday.
And so if you were away or
And
something.
Right.
once or twice a year, in fact, I am not there on Wednesday because Thursday morning, Justin has to bring it in. So I come between 4 and 5 every other Wednesday.
Okay,
So,
that's fine, that's a
and-
good time, I can do
but,
that.
but there have been ones a couple of times and, I'm
So I
gone.
send her an email saying that, payroll's ready.
You send me a text.
On Wednesday, or text, whatever.
As soon as payroll
Phone
is ready.
communication.
Okay,
Then get payroll's ready, and I always have vouchers ready there too. That
Yeah,
way,
and I can
we
be-
have vouchers being
that's
paid
fine.
on a 2-week schedule instead of a monthly
yeah,
schedule.
yeah, I can be flexible on time too, so, okay. So what's it's called exactly?
Signatory?
Signatory, but like
Alternate,
the
I guess.
alternate.
Alright, so, Ellie made the motion,
Second.
second. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of Barbara being the signatory and,
Dawn.
Dawn, the backup signatory?
Aye.
In favor? Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Again, voted unanimously. Okay, next is minutes. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to read the minutes from the April meeting.
They're in your packet. I put everything in the packet just like I did last
See
time.
that, you're just way too efficient.
No.
And it's in the right order this time. Like the word coffers.
Yeah.
I only could think of coffered ceilings too. I said,
Yeah.
they're gonna think it's ceilings. They probably watch all those rehab programs.
It works for financial. I just found it just minor.
Oh, good, because I
lot.
really didn't,
You have to, on the second page on the top line, a lot means is A-L-L-O-T.
oh, a lot, that, okay. I could tell that I did that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's just the editor in me.
That's good, we like editors.
I figured that you were gonna give a lot. For the use.
A lot.
Alright. So, do we have a motion to accept the minutes with the correction?
So moved.
Second?
Second, oh, did you say that?
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? I did watch, I wasn't here last month, but I did watch the meeting on YouTube, so,
Okay.
Yeah, so that means you can approve.
so I can approve. So then moving right along to the treasurer's report.
I called it a finance report since I'm technically not the treasurer. Just to
Okay.
be, I don't know, a little different. Up top, I've got the opening balances, incomes, and expenses to date, and the current balances in all of our accounts. Not much changed since last meeting, except for I did expend out of grant accounts to augment the operational budget as we talked about last meeting. So our personal appropriation is still on track. The operational appropriation is also, I mean, we've got 1 month left, $1,597.29 in there. I think that will be, more than enough to cover the utilities and the things that the town wants paid for out of the operational appropriation. And then once all that's done, at the very end of the year, I can spend it on, more books, more ebooks, things that we like. Personnel appropriation is on track. And then just the balance is going through.
And so you spent some of the LIG, MEG stuff,
Yes, so
and how much of that
To-
is, well, no, how much did you spend since the last meeting?
since the last meeting, $2,247.
2000, two, four?
Will we be able to see that? Oh,
Yeah,
down
it's
here.
on here in the,
Oh,
And the notations underneath.
okay, gotcha, right. Circling.
up here is just the, the totals. So the grant account's still sitting at 15,613.56. So that's the budget. Do I need to read the numbers out loud, or?
What were the
No.
program supplies for?
Those were for the things that the Acostas used to make those eggs.
Oh, the like paper
The
mache
quilling,
or
the
whatever
paper
they're called.
quilling kit.
Yeah.
She needed a paper quilling kit, which is like you take all these little ribbons of paper and then you crimp them through this thing, and then it curls up in little teeny tiny tight
Oh,
swirls, and that's what they
okay.
used to make the decorations on the
There's
eggs.
a creeping tool, a curling tool.
Yes, and we
I remember
actually have
making
it.
those by hand when I was a kid.
Well, we have a kit that you can use to make them now.
So do you have that kit? Is it just paper that was used?
No, it was like a kit with like all these little tools. Like you've got like a special little needle that you poke through, and then.
But not that it was
I bought a
big
kit with enough of
expense, but
those.
just thinking we can reuse that, right?
Yeah, it's definitely reusable.
Okay.
That's cool.
And I always think of friends as paying for a program supply.
I had like a week's notice. She was like, I need this before this. So what happened is we scheduled this egg thing a week after Whitensville did it. So she wanted to do this new craft thing. And so she did it at Whitensville and then took what she learned from there to say what I needed to get her for the next one. And so I had to get it quick. So I just ordered it via Amazon so we would get it shipped out in time.
Was that a good program? 'Cause-
It was. It went about an hour and a half after the library was supposed to close.
Oh, wow.
But everyone had a lot of fun. It was
Who knew? Colors were like late.
good. Well, they took an egg and then they did like paper mache all around it. And then they put the little patterns on it. And then
Yeah.
people were also there laminating their bookmarks that they had made from the bookmark
Oh, yeah.
thing.
That's awesome.
Okay. Okay, so you want to spend 91,3096.
Okay, are we moving on to
Oh,
other?
I don't know.
No, okay, I was reading.
Yeah, me too.
So, are we good with the budget? You okay with that?
Or with the
I'm
financial
sorry.
part of it? Or the,
Finance report. I guess
Yeah.
this is part of it.
or this is the other part of the
The
financial?
other part of the, I'm assuming that's what you were wanting to talk about there on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, last meeting I asked for $5,000 because I wanted to end the year with the same amount of grant money that we started the year with, and it would just help alleviate pressures because of that mistake I made with the 2,701 being transferred out, and also we just have a lot of demand for e-material. So I spent 2,247 of the approved 2,500. And so now I'm here to ask for more, as much as you're willing to give me. 3,130.96 would mean that we spend the income that we made this year from the state grants. And you can read the rest. It just talks about ebooks. If I were to buy the backlog of material that people have requested through the recommend to library button, it would be $1,564.45. If I were to buy the things that people are waiting for over a month to get, that would be an additional $2,321.84. If I were to just buy the licenses to provide patrons with instantaneous access to the titles they have reserved and requested, we would need to spend $6,706.70 right now in overdrive. And circulation has gone down this month because I haven't been putting that money in. So I mean, and from my perspective, it's a need, it's a demand that we should fill if we can.
So where, in this chart, Justin, where is that coming from? Is it a mixture of things?
No,
It's
it would
right
just
here,
be
the
coming from the
LIG,
LIG MEG.
Okay, thank you. I shouldn't see that number there, but it's there.
So maybe if you can clarify, the money that is left from the grant at the end of the fiscal year, does that stay with us? Or
Yeah.
does it go back?
Yes, every year it stays with us.
If you don't use the full amount, does that affect the amount we get in upcoming years?
No, it's pure based on whether we're in compliance with the municipal appropriation requirement and whether we're in compliance with spending our allotted 19% on materials and being
Right.
open a certain number of hours. And a certain number of those hours have to be in evenings and weekends, and like we're more than in compliance with everything.
My feeling is that the state has given us grant money to spend on maintaining the library and providing services for our patrons. So I would think that it would make sense to spend that down because you know you're gonna have the money again as of July 1st, right?
We'll get 2 disbursements. One will be in January, February-ish of next year, and then one will be in April-ish.
Okay. But do you know
But the
ahead of
concept
time?
is correct.
You know
Yes.
ahead of time, okay, yeah, so.
I sort of don't agree with, as I've made clear in past meetings, but I feel that especially since the town administrator had asked you for a 5-year budget amount, and you gave it to him, you got it last year, this year, and hopefully for the next 5 years, that's what you should stick with. And I also feel that just because the money's there, you don't necessarily have to spend it. It would come in handy for things like building catastrophes or whatever, and I would hate to include it as an operating expense, just to do that. You know, I think your 5-year plan to the town administrator, which we approved, is what you should stick with.
I agree with Danielle, as you all know. We had this discussion last time, although a few people were missing things.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's a need that we should be meeting, where a library, we should be providing books. And this money is given to us every year to do that. And I know for many towns, that's part of their operational budget. I think we should consider it as part of the operational budget.
I kind of didn't think it was given to us for books. It was given to us for things that we needed that were not covered by our town budget. And I would like to see us save it for something that we want to do. I know we talked about cutting out from the mezzanine doors so that we could use the attic. Go in and out of the attic, well, that money is not in the budget, but if we save this up, we could use it to open up those rooms by creating doors up there. And that's what I think the LAG, MEG is for, things outside of our budget. I don't think it was ever called books.
I don't think it's stipulated. It
No,
has
it's
to be
purely
books, but-
discretionary.
Yeah, it's
Do whatever.
discretionary, anything.
You know, we're meeting our requirement on books, but
But
I think-
there's still a need for books.
People are
there
waiting.
is, but there's a need to use 2 upstairs rooms also. And then we would have more storage space and things like that.
We have enough money to do that too.
We do. I think it's just that, I think it's the wrong message to cut back on books at this point in time when we just asked the town for an override.
We have expanded it so much though.
We have. I think
You know,
we should
quite
do
a
as
bit.
much as we can.
And I thought your philosophy was to cut down on the print side and go with the ebook or an e-audio side. And that would help with your space restrictions, and it would also, put a different slant on the way you spent your book budget, or your materials
And
budget.
it has. I
This
mean,
was all
e-material I spent more on e-material out of the grant dispersal than I did on books. The issue is that it's just become so popular because I pushed it and I pushed it and I pushed it. We got all the middle school students signed up for cards. I've got a lot of people using Libby. And circulation from last year to this year in digital loans, I mean, it's gone from 366 to 786. Usage is exploding. Maybe I should have accounted for that in my 5-year plan, but then, I would have been adding, I would have been jumping up, our ask, initially by about $10,000. And, already eyebrows were being raised because it's like, well, we want to stick closer to the MAR. And then when we are free to spend more money, it's there. But, if it ever comes back to, well, the town's in fiscal crisis, let's make the minimum required funding lower.
If people are waiting a month for an ebook, I think, and we can shorten that period of time, I think we should do that. I hate to have anybody think that, oh, we have to wait a month, I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. I tend to agree to spend it as well. It's not a huge spend on the overall budget, and if people want digital books especially, then we should be supplying it.
Well, with any business, it's about the customers. And if this makes them happy, should make them happy.
Are they happy?
There you go.
It does make people happy. I get a lot of positive feedback for, getting the items that people have requested
Yeah.
added to the collection.
I've seen a few of those comments where they see that someone's actually paid attention to what they asked for and filled it. That's nice.
And that historically was a big complaint against the library, was that you have to wait so long for things. And so people just pay for it on Audible and use Amazon rather than wait for library stuff. Because, one of the homeschoolers posted, like, whenever we're ready for curriculum, we're ready for it. We want it, we need it then. We can't wait.
Is that ebooks?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's like a dozen. Yeah, they're
It
all
doesn't really
customers,
a
but
lot.
that's, it sounds like a lot of money to
You're
me
right, you're
to be
right.
spent on homeschoolers.
No, I would definitely spread it out.
Yeah, that's just one
Yeah.
specific portion of the population that
I
was
know.
talking about it during the override vote.
Other input? I would entertain a motion to approve the spending as Justin has proposed under the other part of the budget.
So moved.
A second,
Seconded.
further discussion, questions, comments
So we're talking about the 3096?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
for $3,130.96. Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor of approving the amount of $3,130.96 to be spent at Justin's discretion, say aye. Aye.
Alright,
All those opposed?
No,
Yay.
We have 2. Okay,
6, yes,
majority carries that. Okay. Director's report.
So circulation report is up top. We are continuing the trend and book circulation staying steady. Audio is kind of going down because more people are moving to Libby. Periodicals are up. Video is down. I have not invested nearly as much in video. I've been really reliant on donations when it comes to DVDs, especially if I have the if I have money and I try to keep the biggest high demand titles to a degree, but we were circling a lot of DVDs when I started, and like one of the first things I did whenever back in 2015 was, Anne had left me like a third of the year's materials budget, and I spent a lot of it on DVDs. Like got all the Star Trek DVDs, and they've circulated a lot, and they've reached the point where they've all kind of deteriorated, and we're slowly having to take them out of the collection, which breaks up the collection, which makes it not as attractive. But the DVDs, I just sort of is a value. I think that people appreciate having that money spent on, I hate to say, like more edifying content, stuff, books, ebooks, periodicals, that kind of stuff. Digital loans
I'm
have gone up.
surprised that the periodicals have gone up.
Yeah, I have, periodicals are very slowly, they've changed a lot. They've been morphing a lot, because I've discontinued a lot of publications that weren't circing. And I've picked up circulations based on what people have asked for. And sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't, but the magazines that I've picked up, Women's Running, and like someone said, it was Mary Hescock. She was like, you don't have Women's Running, you should get it. It will circulate. She was right, it circulates. So usually if someone asks for a magazine that's not there, I'll be like, all right, I'll add it to our subscription, And with EBSCO, anytime I try to just like add something immediately, they're like, okay, well it'll come with the next license renewal. So it's like, all right, I've listened to you, but you're not going to see it for 3 months. And then we'll start getting it on, our subscription schedule. But I'm kind of surprised that periodicals have jumped up as well, because now we have magazines in Overdrive. Like, there's lots of periodicals there. And it kind of still annoys me, because they like the advertisement for, like, new to Overdrive. And we've got, magazines in the Libby and Overdrive apps. And, like, whenever I got all the school students signed up and got, the Libby app on all their iPads, every time they see, like, all right, what's new in Cosmo? What's new in U.S. Weekly? And it's like, all right, Pope's sex scandals and, the 17 hottest sex tips for teens. And, like, I talked to tech support at CW Mars. It's like, is there anything we can do about this? And they're like, well, we don't design this for any specific patron age group. It's for all of our patron age groups. And, I don't know. I guess I'm an evil censor for not wanting that to be the first thing kids see whenever they log into Overdrive, but that's not even there. Door count for the month was 3,883. We hosted 31 programs with a total of attendance of 211. Your bonfire was awesome. I'm just guessing, but I think we had about 60 people.
Yeah.
Raised $317. The festivities started at 7:30. They lasted till nearly 11, and we had people matriculating in really, really late.
Yeah.
What's damn?
That is a 2-syllable damn.
That's how they
Oh.
Because on my way out, I bought
think
some
that's
ground
Southern
alpaca and
Cone.
duck eggs, and they're amazing. That's what I did on Memorial Day. Is I
Awesome.
grilled alpaca burgers and.
That's perfect.
Just the word ground the first time I read that, and I was like, I don't know what you bought there.
But that was fun. I hope we can do it again
Yeah, absolutely.
next year, maybe with a little bit more publicity, maybe a little more people know that there are fun liquids available to be imbibed.
That always
Because
helps.
I got a lot of feedback of like, well, if I'd have known you were going to, set boxes of wine out on a pallet, then we would have came. I was like, well, I didn't really know how kosher that was. So
That's perfect.
in fun serendipitous stuff, last week somebody donated the entire run of Dallas and Touched by an Angel, and someone also donated a lot of material about the Titanic. So for like the Wowbrary post for this past week is like, what's new at your library? It was like a time capsule going back to 1997.
I don't know. Dallas was before that, I think.
Yeah, but I have a friend that still, she just calls me Miss Ellie. And I think I'm the only one that realizes why she calls me that.
That's funny, yeah. It's been a while.
The Mushroom Hunting Foundation will be giving a lecture at the library on June 11th at 6 p.m. so you can come learn about the local wild mushrooms and how to safely enjoy them. And the summer reading schedule is up. So if you go to our website, there's a tab in the top, SRP, Summer Reading Program. And we've got 6 really big events going on this summer. 3 of them are actually going to be in the Municipal Center gym because the library's not big enough to do it. One of them is going to be in conjunction with the Senior Center. So like we're doing a butterfly show and there's going to be iguanas and lizards and snakes and things that people can come pet and stuff. So that will be with the Adult Social Center, formerly the Senior Center.
They changed
And the
that.
Friends of the Library co-sponsoring to have a multi-generational kind of event.
That
Which,
sounds
Are
good.
the friends doing mushroom hunting too?
yes, they are.
Okay, give us credit.
Give us credit. You get credit. Your credit is all over Facebook. Sorry, the Friends of the Library are doing the Mushroom Hunting Foundation, sponsored by the Friends, by the Friends, for the Friends, for everyone else too. But yeah, most of the summer readings is sponsored by the Friends. The Douglas Cultural Council didn't give us full funding for really much of anything this year because
We have to step out for that part, so.
yeah, well, and I think that we were having some pretty serious competition from the Douglas Orchard and Farms.
What?
Oh, well,
Cultural Council.
he can't, he could, or yeah, I guess you can still apply, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah, that's
But
right.
Yeah, for the
would you
conference
have to step out because you serve on the same committee? Is it? Are there 3 of you on that
It gets
committee?
very complicated when the same, like, 50 volunteers do everything.
I know. Everybody's gonna conflict in some
I
way.
know.
Well, I do have to say that we had probably twice as many applications
Yeah,
this
there
year
were a
as we
lot.
did last year. And everyone's not even requesting, kind of demanding more money.
Demanding.
So.
It's an outrageous
I-
amount.
And I had to, like Kate and I had to step out, so they did a pretty quick vote on
I
all
know.
that
I
stuff.
don't know what happened.
So, I don't know.
Ask for more next time.
Yeah.
Ask for more.
It was like,
Yeah.
It was like half, right, each time.
Pretty much, I think. So, like, all of our events now have to have like double the disclaimers in the
I think that's
bottom.
what
Like,
most folks-
co-sponsored in part by the Friends of the Simon.
Oh, I know,
Franklin
you do
Public
have the
Library
flyer
and the
on.
Douglas Cultural Council, which is part of the Massachusetts Cultural Council, funded by the blah 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 blah.
Can't just use acronyms.
It's totally fun.
So I think most folks realize that, and everybody like up their amounts.
Because they fit only part.
But yeah, summer reading is shaping up to be pretty huge this year. Also, we're doing a thing where I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. We did the library passport program. So each one of the Blackstone Valley libraries, you could go to your specific library for your summer reading program and get a passport. And if you've got your stamp at all the rest of the libraries, then you got a something. And so this year, since the theme is a universe of stories and it's all kind of space exploration, each library is going to be a body in the solar system. We're like, let's all be planets, but we can't be planets. So someone has to be the sun, someone has to be the moon. So like each of the libraries is a planet, and of course I got dibs on Uranus.
I love that. To be.
Douglas will be proudly representing Uranus this summer. Getting some big blue balloons, like the giant car salesman balloons, to put hula hoops around, because Uranus has rings, but they're going sideways, so we can hang them from the ceiling, and we can have Uranuses hanging all in the library, and like some posters and facts and things, and
The vision in my head is just like.
And what's the title of the program?
universe of stories.
Okay,
That's awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, like the professional side, like pitches this idea to all the Blackstone Valley library directors, and then as soon as they it's like, I got dibs on Uranus, and we won.
How did I know that?
Suspecting it.
And that's
Is it-
all I got for director's report.
Is it, which planet got kicked out? It wasn't Uranus, it
Pluto.
was Pluto? Okay.
Pluto's still
It's
out there,
back as
but
a
it's,
mini planet or something.
it's not really a planet. It's still.
It's an exoplanet,
X, that was
or a dwarf planet.
Yeah.
I think that's technically what it is. It's a dwarf planet, and they downgraded it because there's just a whole lot of other ones out there too now that we know of. And so if we did every Pluto-sized
let
object as a
everyone
planet,
in.
we would have to have 40 new planets or something.
Yeah, but
That
then
sounds
we
fun.
could all name them after
Yeah.
ourselves.
But then you would
They
take
should
away
let
the
them in.
really cool names like KU-173.
Yeah.
No, they have to have a new mnemonic device, right, to remember?
Yeah, that's true. That would be
My
a
very
long one.
educated mother just served us 9 and then it ends.
Will never leave your brain.
Oh, tomorrow night, or is it Thursday night?
It's tomorrow night.
It's Wednesday
I
night.
know, I was thinking
Oh.
it was Thursday.
Uh-oh,
Uh,
okay.
I can make it.
Yeah.
I think so, but I didn't know that.
Are we first up again? Do we know?
I have to look at my
Yes.
calendar.
We're at 7
not
o'clock.
sure.
B.
Aaron's gonna be there, right?
C.
I told him about it. I think
Cool.
he'll let you know.
I have a question about that. Do I understand correctly that the drawings only had the elevator going up to the main floor, not to the top?
Yeah, they go to the main floor and to the basement
So why wouldn't we have them go all the way up so we can use that space?
because it adds a lot of money to the project.
Yeah, but if we have to add them later, will we have to get a whole new elevator that will be powerful? How are we gonna use those attic rooms and the mezzanine room there? I think it's against the law to use it if it's not all handicap accessible, they won't let us use it.
It can't be like for public use for stuff, but we can still use it for staff stuff and storage. And if we turn the entire basement into a children's library, we'll need that storage.
I don't know, I think it's a little short-sighted to not have it go all the way up. I'd like to know what it would add to it to make it go all the way up.
Yeah, how much
Because we
would it
might make
cost?
those 2 attic rooms usable.
So currently it goes to the main floor and the children's room floor,
Mhm.
right, but not the attic, okay.
And so you enter sort of on the grade that's outside so that it's sort of like a half step down either way.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of grading like the original plan was like grade the outside down, like 5 feet. So
Yeah.
that you have the entrance going in.
Yeah,
through
because
the
that way you
bottom.
go through the back and it would just be where you want to be anyway, correct? Where the parking lot is. Okay.
So does the roof of the attachment, like Aaron had drawn, does it go up that high?
No.
No,
So you
So you
have
would
to
still
be
have a window
a dog
sort of-
or a cat to be able to ride up an elevator to that height. I mean, it would,
It's not a full
where,
height.
where does it end, or?
Yeah, I mean, the
or
elevator
why
is just
did
not
Aaron
designed to go that high because it would have to be moved, because right now it's on the side of the building. I mean, if you were going to make it go up to the mezzanine, then it would have to be somewhere else. We would have to move the furnace room, all that stuff, the bathroom, the staff. I'm not sure it's worth it.
why
just to
is
be
that? It
frank.
couldn't just go up from where it is?
Just the,
Unless it spat
Yes.
you out in the attic.
Well, that would be okay.
Yeah, why wouldn't it?
It's coming in the back door that's there already, right? So why wouldn't it just be able to rise
In
up?
that vicinity. So instead of the elevator putting you in the mezzanine, it would put you in the attic. But I mean, I bet it would double the cost of the project because you're adding a whole.
Another door.
You're adding another door, but it's also a new kind of, like
It's a more
the elevators
powerful
like
elevator,
go up
yeah.
exponentially by how
Exactly.
tall they are.
And that's why.
Because you have
it
to
was
have
like
a
half
different
steps,
class of
'cause that
carriage
was-
and a different class
yeah.
of machinery.
That was my understanding, is that's why it was so much cheaper.
All right, so people would come in the main entrance, what would be the new main entrance, take the elevator up to the main floor. Then they would have to take stairs from there, right, to get up to
The existing ones.
the other,
To the mezzanine.
the upper,
Yeah, it's just the same as it is now.
like Betty says, is that gonna be an issue?
As long as it's not for public use.
Yeah,
It won't be an issue as far as ADA is concerned, as long as we have everything accessible, that we use. I mean, we could even still use the mezzanine for a private study room, for little tutoring areas, because there's other places people can do that
Right,
in the library. And, the attics are good for staff and storage. If we were to try to make those public spaces, we would have to open up to remodeling all that up there too. So the insulation that we've just sprayed would have to be sort of framed around by, I'm not sure you can make it public space by the time you work around all that, because you're gonna have a ceiling height of really low.
Right.
The mezzanine ceiling is already really low, and then if you try to finish the attic, it's gonna be sort of in the same vicinity.
So some of that archival stuff that's in the basement, that's not really accessible to the public. So theoretically, if you needed space, that could be used as public space, and that collection could go into the mezzanine.
Yeah, the collection would go into the mezzanine,
Okay.
probably. Because if we do get the basement entirely remodeled, it would just make the most sense to have the entire basement be for the kids. You know,
Yeah.
kids,
Not at
play
this
base,
time, no.
teen space. And then upstairs have, our, adult space. Basically, that lets us keep the upstairs the way it is, more or less. Move the children's collections downstairs into where they already have their programming,
videos
their
and
storage
stuff.
is downstairs. And that's how most libraries work once they're remodeled. You have, children's and adults on different floors. So you can have two different entirely themed spaces.
Yeah.
I don't see the mezzanine and the attic ever really being refurbishable to that degree. But I mean, if we just had like the basement area finished and the upstairs area finished, we would still have like the biggest, most usable space library in the area
We would.
among our population size. I mean, it would be bigger than what they offer in Grafton, Whitensville, Uxbridge, Upton, Minden.
And what would you do
Grafton's
about,
rebuilding.
what would you do about checkout desks? No two checkout desks, and so therefore you're stuck there because it just is too expensive to staff stuff like
Right.
that, So I don't know if it's all been thought through enough, or I want more information before you decide, okay, children's is going down here, and that's all. And I somewhat agree with, I absolutely do agree with Betty that more thought should be put in to putting the elevator all the way up, if you want to use that for storage space for the friends or something like that. As long as the friends can use a lift to bring the books wherever they're going to take them, outside, that's fine with me, But and so that would free up, except we don't need to free up the where the friends are now, because the other bathroom or this furnished room would suffice for that, right?
Did we determine that would? be
It said
done?
Yeah, because
week.
we don't have to have a variance to have one handicap accessible public restroom.
Wasn't that as long, because we don't have separate ones now?
Because we don't have another one.
Right.
If we had a restroom somewhere else, if we had male and female restrooms somewhere else, and we were to put a handicap restroom next to it, we would be fine. If we had male and female restrooms somewhere, and we tried to put a handicap accessible restroom somewhere else, we would need a variance. But as this project goes, when it's done, there will be one public restroom, and it will be handicap accessible and unisex, and a variance isn't required for that.
And that space is large enough?
Mm-hmm.
So what
And where
exactly
are
are
we
you
getting rid of
asking?
the boiler?
Well, I thought that we had approved these plans.
I thought we had to, or at
But
least
it
moving
sounds
ahead
like
of-
they've become unapproved, so I.
No, I
Well,
mean.
they weren't thoroughly discussed, they were just presented, they were not nitpicked. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
a
but I
lot
think
of
we did-
Well, we can-
ongoing discussion about them.
But we did vote to move ahead to bring it to the building.
So what are
committee.
you going to ask them if they'll approve these plans? Is that what you're gonna ask the BFCC?
I was going
I think it
to,
was
we were
next
gonna ask them
time.
if they can, approve these plans, scrap the old plans that we have going up to this point, because there's no traction there. And move forward with this, and I need their guidance, their buy-in, and their, to tell us what to do to get this as shovel-ready as we can before fall, to have an attractive grant with the Massachusetts Office on Disabilities.
I don't think, I understand you're gonna ask them to approve this, but I wouldn't present it as in stone, because there's a lot of little itty bitty things that we may be rearranging.
I think I mean, I have nothing in my minutes, but that's because I'm sitting here writing nothing down, so I could have missed this, but it just says that, that,
So this really just has the, so these
That was
plans
March.
just have the,
it just says, BFCC next meeting, Justin will contact them, no need for 2 bathrooms. I didn't have anything about a vote. I didn't write
Yeah,
unanimous.
at the time, everyone thought this was a great idea.
Well, those
Yeah,
are two
but I don't-
projects, the bathroom and this are
Yeah,
separate
because that was a
projects.
completely different
These
thing.
are-
The goal of this is to get the elevator
is
in,
just
going
the
between the first
elevator.
and
Any
second
stairs
floor.
and
Okay.
an outside
And get
structure.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, and that would cut down, the bathroom situation would cut down on the cost to figure out for bathrooms, because you don't need 2, you only need 1.
You're not including the bathroom in what you're presenting
These are
to the
two-
BFCC?
Two projects. We gotta do
Yeah,
one at
that's
a
a different
time, or we're
project.
gonna drive ourselves
Well, what
insane.
about the 30% of your value
still
of
not
your
near that
building, and then you have
because-
to do the whole thing?
We're still not close to getting to that threshold.
And what
Um,
was the value of this building, or our building?
I don't remember because it was so irrelevant, because we would never spend that much money.
It was not valued.
very
to be
small, I
It
thought.
was very low, very, very low, because I remember Charlie saying, you should get assessed and at a higher level,
So
so
we could
you
just
don't
look
run
that
into.
up, right? We could just look that up on the town.
But the issue with that isn't ADA, it's the Massachusetts Office on Disability and the Architectural Access Board. And they are not going to come after us for trying to make our building more handicap compliant and accessible. If we were spending that money to, put in a theater downstairs or something, that's when we would be in trouble. But if we're using that money to remove accessibility barriers, then they're not going to say you can't do that.
Maybe some of our architects have misled us though, because they have given us very serious concerns about making ADA accessible.
Well, it is a concern, and it
past.
should be a concern. But like the plan we have, right now with the BFCC, with the Van Voorhis plans. I mean, those plans improve handicap accessibility, but they also do a whole bunch of other stuff. It was like the heating and air conditioning system rework. You're tearing out internal walls and replacing with glass windows. You're basically gutting the space inside and restarting from scratch, and that's why it was a $2.5 million project. And Aaron came and talked to me. It's like there's no need to do all that because we have a good library on the first floor. We have a very good potential space in the basement to be a children's library. And if we just connect them with the elevator and the stairs, the only other step left to being fully ADA compliant is putting in a restroom. And I mean, we could do that with the funds that we have.
Because it's
We could
a
do
lot
that
smaller
with what we
project.
have in our donations and our building donations. That's an easily manageable project. And then if we want to remodel the basement, it's just a matter of paint and plaster from there.
The way these normally work, from my understanding, it's not like you're just gonna go in and it's like, this looks great, here's your money, we're gonna do it. It's like there's multiple steps usually, right? There'll be another meeting, someone will question this or that. We'll have to come back with like a serious plan or something, right? There's like.
And that's what I want to get before fall,
Yeah.
because we don't have the money to do that. So I'm wanting to get the money from the Massachusetts Office on Disability, and to have the most attractive grant application, we will need, a shovel-ready plan, which means having them look at these drawings, getting the building schematics drawn up, whatever else it entails. I don't know what all entails.
Right,
That's
right,
why the
that's-
BFCC exists.
Yeah,
They,
exactly.
advise you.
they
So,
kind of take
yeah.
the reins and hold your hand through the process.
Right.
In my notes, it says there was a motion to move forward with the plan and that was unanimous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what month was that?
326.
I think there might have been 2 meetings on this, like, so that would make sense.
So
Like,
it must have been
well,
March
it
26th.
It was
March
when
20th.
Aaron came in before, early, we had the meeting starting at 6:30, so we went through it, right?
Yeah, 6:35. Yeah.
and we just talked about the elevator addition, not moving
That's
anything
fine.
around.
Yeah,
That's
motion
fine.
to pursue this plan further, I have written down. And then, and it did pass that one.
Cause that to me was the
That
most,
goes back to March.
Yeah, that's
Something like
March, I was
that.
looking at April.
Alright, so,
cause I think this one shows it the best, how it would, cause it'd come in there and you could go half a floor, then this is the problem, right? You can't, we wanna go here, but you can't go into the sky. Right, is this all added on?
Yep.
Bring it up a bit, you mean? So the slanting is not for dogs and cats? Is it dog or cat door?
I mean, what are the benefits of upstairs? Like, seems like such a small space anyways, that everything that's necessary is on these first 2 floors. That,
Have you seen the 2 attic rooms?
They're creepy.
They're big.
I've only seen the
The
small,
bats are
when you
It's
walk
the
right
mezzanine.
up.
It's open, but if you go in, that's what I said about the doors, you can't get into them now, because there's only little crawl space, but they're
I
big
can get
rooms
in.
up there.
Yeah, they
Well, I
are.
mean, the public is not gonna crawl through that.
I don't want the
Big
public
rooms
up
up
there
there.
anyway.
I should take a look.
There's a lot of books,
Yeah, I've never
old
seen it,
books
yeah.
and stacks up there.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
also, I
big
mean, this would,
space.
by bringing the elevator up that high, then you would have the accessibility truly of the mezzanine that is used quite a bit. So for your tutors and everything else. I know years ago there was some talk about that if you have handicapped staff, and this wasn't for Douglas, but
Yeah.
you sort of have to make everything accessible for them. It's not that all of your staff is mobile, and some aren't, and or yours happen to be. You're lucky, but in some libraries they aren't. But you don't want to discriminate against those people that can't get up to those higher levels.
I don't know if there was any pricing done on this, but what is the cost of the elevator and what is the cost of a larger elevator? Is that what BFCC is gonna pay money for us to get the cost of all this?
Or tell us where to go for the schematic
Well, we could
stuff.
tell them the 2 ideas too. It's like, this is our, like, one of the ideas, and if we wanted, like, to put an elevator up, we could get 2 prices. You know, it doesn't hurt.
Right,
But
but
just getting the ball rolling is a
they're
big
not
step.
gonna give us the
Right.
prices, and the last time they made us go out for prices, and that was just a renewal of prices, and it cost $30,000, which I can't remember where, I think the money had to come from the town.
Oh, just for the schematic drawings?
No,
or
for,
ju-
it had not been built for a period of 3 years, we had an original price. They said because you have not had it all priced, I don't know what you call that procedure of pricing. You haven't had it priced for 3 years, you need to go out and have it
And to
priced
rebid
again.
it, to rebid it.
And it costs $30,000, nothing to do with building, just to get the total, and that's why it went to a $2 million thing, because it had been a $1 million. Then when they got the new prices by a different architect, that's what made it the 2 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we're gonna get the money to price that, and
Well, then we should only do it once and make sure we know what we want.
That was part of the discussion, I believe, when we all went forward with it, is that we would, if I remember correctly, that we'd have to
Go
No.
to the BFCC.
go to the BFC, but also get a real, a perfect architectural plan. There's like a few, things that would be cost. in
Because
the
this is a
beginning.
sketch. You have to have a
Right.
schematic.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And getting the schematic, Aaron said, would probably be about $9,000.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds right.
something like that.
Now, when looking at this, this is the add-on, right? And like the way the building is, this is how high it is to get those 2 floors. To get that other floor with the detail and all that, I'm not an architect, but I'm just guessing it's more than it looks like, but we should probably price
Yeah,
it both
the
ways.
addition would have to end up coming up above.
Above the roof, because you don't have, that's your attic.
Because the attic is flush with the roof.
Yeah.
It was 80 to 90,000 for the elevator as it is now.
it was how much?
80 to 90,000 for the elevator.
And that's the logic of this plan, is we're just trying to keep the costs as low as possible.
Like
So
it's
that
a
we can go for the
palatable
grant
number.
and
But it's
perhaps
never
get
gonna happen then.
That's the elevator or
those-
the
those
carpentry
are
the
that goes
elevator.
with
Just
it?
the elevator.
The
It's 100.
mechanical
I
elevator.
really don't think we want them to.
Yeah, that's why I
And I don't
thought.
think they could be anyway, because
About
of
half
the
that's
ceiling
the
height.
About half, yeah.
And after the insulation spray foam in there, it's,
No, it's not for public occupation, except for, getting down to the mezzanine. That would be public. But, and I don't know about you, but at my age, I get shaky legs going up there.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to clear the attic out because I had a lot of stuff up there that we were generating certs with, but we were generating certs through sending stuff out in delivery rather than actually serving our patrons. And why hold on to this massive closed stacks collection that we're using to serve other communities when, you know, there's already bigger libraries that do that. But I mean, like, and you know, I use one half of the attic. The other half of the attic, you can't safely walk in because the floorboards are rotted out and you just can't be up there. I don't.
And that's where the elevator would,
And that's where the elevator would be.
So that would add.
I just don't think it's worth it to go up there, to be honest.
Doesn't-
It's an attic.
I wish we had the meetings at the library so we could walk up there. Take-
You
I
can-
know, I wish we had them there
Where
too.
it's accessible.
yeah,
Oh,
right,
okay.
exactly.
So how do we want to
Maybe we could
proceed?
do a
We
field
already
trip.
voted.
Yeah.
And go check it out.
Do we want to redo our vote?
Well, I think getting the ball rolling is at least a good step.
I agree with
Well, I
Nick.
think it is important just to chat with the BFCC to say, okay, what steps are needed to
Right.
be taken. We don't have to even present these plans, but for them to, because they have been critical of us, we've already spent all this money on the library, why do we have to do anything more? And you haven't done anything, so, you know, it's, to present a plan that may not happen, but just to say, to ask them for their help in guiding us where we should go for all of this stuff. It's,
I don't think we
important.
should approach them though until we have
I think we should definitely.
until we
present
have,
what
you
we
know,
have.
Yeah, I
something
agree
we
with
can
you.
present. Because, you know, right now that's on their agenda for tomorrow night. And if
They've
we're not
seen
on
that.
board with it, I need to get it off of their agenda for tomorrow night. Because if we go and say, well, we've kind of changed our minds, we're thinking about pursuing something else, that's going to play into, you know, exactly the same, you know, ideas they have about this board already.
Exactly.
I mean, it's better to have this than nothing. If we can do that.
So, I mean,
I think
it's, we
having a
could either,
sketch shows that you're thinking and that you've got a project that could be, what was it, like a third of the larger project that was
Or like a
conceptualized.
Tenth,
A tenth, yeah.
Less than a tenth.
But we don't have a lot of time to try to get it done for fall, so if we want to do this.
Right, that's another thing. And I, again, talking about the feelings towards the library, towards the board, I agree that I think where we're on the agenda, I think we should stay on I think we should move forward and again say, like you say, just talk with them and get a feeling, like you say, Justin, we don't even have to present a plan actually, talk about what we wanna do. Or are they gonna want us to show, don't come to them until we have a specific
Well, they've seen the plan.
plan, so they've seen
this
that.
plan, yes.
Mhm.
I thought it was attached to
Okay.
their agenda last time.
Oh,
Okay.
they've seen the plan?
Mhm.
Well, then you better go in with the
I know,
plan.
yeah, uh-huh,
That's
It's
what we
not,
voted on
I mean,
last time.
has anybody ever built a house? You make changes as you go along. It's a suggested plan, we want their opinion on it. It doesn't mean we're exactly gonna put every little thing exactly where it is.
Unfortunately, towns or municipalities, they require all these specifics to be worked out. So none of the taxpayers are surprised by overage or underages.
Well, we'll get to that, but right now we're at this, what do they think of it? What's their,
I think that's kind of what we're saying, right? Like, we're going to them not with a perfect, sketched out plan, we're saying this is our idea.
And this
What
is
are
how,
the
and this is
10
the
things we need to
financing
do?
associated with it, which
Mhm.
is a grant.
Yeah.
So it's within the
Yeah.
context of a grant, not in
Right.
the context of a town
it's,
appropriation.
right,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
true.
like we're going to them asking for the money to do this.
Right.
Well, they could even say too, like, why don't you guys just go to the third floor if you're doing it anyways?
Right,
They might just say
exactly.
that.
I don't know.
If they do,
So
then it
where would we get the money for the schematics? Are they gonna tell us maybe they'll put that on a town meeting?
we would have to pay for the schematics if we were going to have them ready by
Which would cost about how
fall.
much? You're saying $9,000?
Yes.
Fall is
And they might make us go
November,
out to
so
bid for
it's,
that.
when's the deadline? not just fall. When
It's
is
less
the
than
deadline of
10,000
the
maybe
grant?
not.
It
Application.
changes every
Well, we
year.
don't know
It'll
till we've
be
gone out to
either
bid, right?
late October or early November,
Okay, so it
somewhere
might
around there.
be able to be handled by a town meeting. The schematics, I don't want us paying for them. Well, you know, you can all glare at me.
Well, you know,
We-
this
we
is the
spent
thing,
the
like,
money
you know,
on books,
this
so we're
board
not
will
gonna
not
be
I
spend
know,
money.
exactly,
That's exactly my point.
This
We might
board
need-
won't spend money to save its life, but you also want your elevator to go up an extra floor, you know,
Well, if we didn't
there's a cognitive dissonance there.
Well, we could have spent the book money on the schematics. That was my
So we
point
have-
exactly,
we
we're
have-
gonna
We
need.
still have enough money to spend on the schematics. I mean, we're sitting on enough money that we could, you know, get people already know. I'm already getting flack and feedback, you know, because, you know, we just, you know, I got, you know, ragged over, you know, the fundraiser at the farm because, you know, you passed the override and you're bleeding us dry and now you're going after, you know, fundraising at the farm too. And what's this with the Friends of the Library
Why
book
would
sale?
anyone care about that?
That's ridiculous.
Because
Send them
people
to me.
care, and you know we
they're not
have enough
required
money
to
to
pay
build
to
a
the
Yeah, they don't have
accessible
to donate
restaurant.
Stay home.
anything. They don't
No,
have to.
Yeah.
I wanted, yeah, that's
But
ridiculous.
we have been questioned about why we have money sitting
For
in
this reason, for this very reason.
Right,
Not for an operating
accounts. I'm
budget.
just saying, we have the money we can spend on.
but,
schematics.
right,
So like building donations, that's exactly where you wanna pull it from, right?
And the
For building.
LIGMEG. I think that's a
Oh,
logical
cause that's
place.
kinda miscellaneous, it's for anything.
Well, yeah, and Justin's gonna spend it if you don't.
Which even after I spend what I want to spend, you're still going to have $12,000 left. So you can get the schematics for your plan. We can widen the doors upstairs into the mezzanine. I mean, we can do a lot of stuff. I just I don't get it sometimes.
I think you'll have more support from the BFCC if we have a plan to pay for the schematics and a plan to actually pay for the construction.
But we have
Without
to,
going to the town and saying, we're taking care of this ourselves, you know? You let us stay in existence and now we're gonna take care of these things
mm-hmm,
out of our own, out of the money that we have and that we've been given by the state.
I agree.
But then what we would propose most likely, right, would be in October at the fall town meeting, is that then we would ask for the big spend, like the 100,000.
No, 'cause
No,
we're
I
gonna
don't
get
want
a
to ask
grant.
for it at town meeting. I want to apply for the grant with it.
Oh,
I want to try to
oh,
get the
oh,
grant.
sorry, got it. Yeah, so we're trying to do it now.
And the grant is a
And we're trying to
maximum of
give all our
$250,000, and so that's
Okay.
another reason we're trying to keep the project
Okay.
lower than
Okay,
$250,000.
That makes really good sense. That's a perfect thing to say, to start with.
So, just to clarify, where are we at right now?
yeah.
Are we as a board saying that the board will be represented tomorrow night at the BFCC meeting? To
I think
provide
we need to
information
vote.
on this plan? Yes or no?
We've already agreed to.
Yes, that was,
Vote to
yeah,
agree
yeah.
to take it to the BFCC.
So what's the question? Who's going to actually present it?
No, my
If
question
we
is,
are.
my question is the board right now, what I'm hearing is that some people are saying we shouldn't go forward with this plan, we should have something else. Whereas in March, it was already that had been approved, and the plan was to go before the BFCC.
And there was a voice saying if we're on the agenda, we gotta show up, right?
Right.
So,
If they get a quorum.
I know. So that's frustrating too. If they cancel us out again, we're stuck for a whole nother month, right?
Well, I mean, it just depends. I mean, yeah, pretty much.
No, we could ask them to reschedule another night when they might have we don't need to wait a whole month.
Well, that's what
Ask
happened
them
this
if they
time.
can schedule a meeting, we need to talk to them and do it on another night.
If they agree to it.
Well, let's just assume that the meeting will be tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
not borrow trouble.
Okay, so we're good on this?
So we're
We're standing
presenting this to
by
the
our
BFCC
original
tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright. Perfect.
I did notice on their I don't know, somehow it was attached to their minutes or something. They had all of the, various library,
All of like the
All of them, and the
historical
emails
things
back and
going
forth.
back.
oh my, yeah, it was interesting.
Oh, I do
All
have
in one
one
place.
question related to that, which Barbara brought up, is that are we gonna offer as part of this conversation tomorrow night that we would pay for that out of the existing funds, or is there another plan for that?
For the schematics?
For the
plan?
for the architectural
plan?
drawings, whatever we're calling them.
I think that's the way to go, and maybe if we have leftover grant money, it could be put towards that. I don't, maybe. Because it's part of the building.
Oh,
If
could-
we have 250 grand, it only
Yeah,
costs
to reimburse.
180, and we could reimburse ourselves for the schematics.
No, I don't think that works that way.
It's a nice concept.
Yeah,
Yeah, where's the
Building project.
The town will take it all, I tell you. They'll
Right.
take
From
one
every,
pocket to the next.
none
That's
of none of it
200
will come to
pages
the
of
library.
paperwork.
But for spending 9 grand and getting a whole building with the
That's a
grant, I
pretty
mean,
good
it's a
deal.
pretty good deal.
Absolutely.
If
Yeah,
we get the
it's
grant, it is
handy.
competitive.
So it's $9,000 to compete for the grant.
It's,
To, well,
is someone committed to the $9,000 or is
It's a
it
guesstimate.
an
It's
estimate?
as
That was
good
the
as we could
guesstimate.
do. As good as we can guess right now.
Does Aaron have a suggestion of who one would go to for a $9,000 quote?
Well, I mean, I think he said that he could do it, but it might have to go out for bidding because of just
Of
the
being a
rules
town.
in the town. So then
That's
who
something we
knows?
could find out tomorrow, right?
$9,000.
Not if it's not over 10,000.
Right,
Right, it's
exactly.
less
I
than
just found this
10,000.
out. Yeah, that you don't have to go out
you
to
don't have to
bid.
go out to bid
That's
on
the
that.
If he
$9,000?
agrees to do it for 9, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that would be good.
Yeah, so then it would be faster too. We're
Yeah.
more likely to hit that deadline.
I know he kind of also doesn't want to do it though.
Oh,
Why?
But, I mean,
Because
if
he'll
we
get
twist
yelled
his
at or
arm-
something?
Oh, who knows? I mean,
I
he's
remember he said
he's
he
the most
didn't have
busy person I know. So.
exact experience with municipal, so someone else
Yeah.
would be better.
But does he have a suggestion of somebody that could do it?
He might.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go chat with him when you get home.
Yeah. Well, I don't live with him, but I'll call him.
I don't think we need to account for the 9,000, where that's coming from tomorrow, do we?
No,
No, we want to see what they say.
No, I want to know if they will approve of moving forward with a plan along this line of vision and
Right.
be willing to,
As
kind
opposed
of
to
let us
all
off the hook with the $2.5 million renovation
Yeah.
thing and say we're moving on now.
Right.
all of that long list of previous proposals, right?
yeah, so how much did that add up to?
I
Oh,
didn't add it up.
It's a lot.
And
Yeah.
who had it?
It
The,
was attached to the,
Bill's been keeping track of that, so that came from Bill.
all right,
It
have
was
I
all
heard that?
attached to
Was
the,
that something that you gave us too? Is that in?
Yeah, it was attached in some email I sent, I think. So
I
like,
don't remember seeing that.
because it was just a hyperlink. It was a hyperlink to some like drop file system where
Yes.
Bill had shunted all of the
Right, right,
discussion
right,
that's been
right.
relevant to the library
Yeah.
building project for
Yeah,
like the past
emails
20
and-
years.
yeah, it went way back. But that was attached to, I think, their minutes or their
Yeah,
meeting
so it'd be a
listing or
good
something.
idea to review that. I'm gonna go look it
Yeah.
up again.
Yeah, I don't even know what to look for.
And that's the case that's going to be
I
made.
think it was something
is-
that,
Yeah.
that Justin sent us, within the last month.
Okay, what would the subject be? What might the subject
It
be?
was
I'll
there was
look
a
for
bunch
it
of
and try to
things
resend it
that
out.
he emailed a bunch of things out, was it in that? He emailed different,
Like a bunch at once?
attachments.
I think
How do I
I
remember
found
that?
it because I went to the town website and looked at the BFCC meeting to see what time it was or whatever, and I noticed
And they were all
there
in
was,
there.
yeah,
Okay.
there was a link or something, it was attached to that.
Okay. That might be the easiest way.
Mhm.
I'll resend it out. I'll just, because it's just a hyperlink. I can find the hyperlink
Yeah,
and send it
or
out to you
you can find on
guys.
the town site. if
tomorrow
there's
morning.
I
something
thought that was 9:10.
there. I know, it's not put on 9:10.
Okay,
No,
can we,
no.
moving on, under building projects other, is there anything other under building projects?
Security installation has begun. They started today. They're not going to be working tomorrow, but they'll be finishing it up on Thursday and Friday.
Very
That's
good.
great, that's moving
That was
along.
fast.
Very good.
It has to be fast because it has to be
Oh,
done
yeah,
by
that's
the end of
right.
June.
That's right.
Oh, it does?
And how's the painting going?
That hasn't started yet. We're in their schedule as soon as he has time.
And how much did we say that we were gonna spend on that, 3,000 or 4,000? So that's
something.
out of the total here, that's not accounted for.
Yeah, that hasn't been paid for yet.
So that would be out of building donations.
I think that's what what y'all voted to spend it out of.
So that brings that down to 12,000.
Okay, moving on to 5-year plan.
So we just need the final approval on this, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, so the things that, there were some spelling things, changed seniors to senior citizens. The first thing was the proposed mission statement. So it changed Douglas in all of these little bullet points to our community because it was felt that referencing Douglas was too exclusive. And then in so the mission statement is the same. The vision statement, Simon Fairfield Public Library invites all, that's new, to join us in creating an inspired, informed, enriched, and empowered reading community. There's been some discussion as to whether we should have a reference to reading. I think that we should in the vision statement, because right now we don't in the mission statement. So the mission statement is broad enough to encompass a lot of things, but the vision statement kind of just reminds people that we're a library. Because otherwise, this could be a vision statement for a lot of different kinds of things.
So how do you account for DVDs and sewing machines and microscopes and all those things that people usually don't read?
Well, I mean, that's part of it. Those aren't excluded. It's just this is singling out, an empowered reading community.
So isn't it,
And then-
it says an informed one. Did you put informed? You did. So it's information that you're providing, not through the washing machine, through the sewing machine. I just bought one. And, all those other things. You're providing information to the community. You're not, I strongly feel, and I'll probably vote against that part too, that you shouldn't limit it to reading. That it's,
I'm not that attached to it either way, because ultimately this is just going to get filed with MBLC and no one's really going to look at it again.
well, yeah, right, exactly, I agree, but if you're gonna make this effort, you shouldn't limit it to reading or literary.
Okay. We're the Simon Fairfield Public, we should change our name.
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, I'm fine accent community reading.
Well read.
If
Well
everyone
read
wants to do
community.
that. So just informed, enriched, and empowered community. We aim to inspire our community, our community, our community, our community instead of Douglas. And then the only other change is adding at the very end under bullet point 4 subsection A, increasing library hours as a somehow the formatting got here messed up when I was copying and pasting. So yeah, basically at the very end, engage commuters by increasing library hours.
And so the A gets taken away.
Yeah, that's what's going on there.
So why is increased library hours have something to do with engaged computers?
Just to keep consistency. Commuters, like drivers, people who.
Oh, commuters.
Yeah,
Engage commuters. I don't think so. I think that's just engage your community or whatever.
Yeah, but engaged community is already the sort of overall bullet subset, and each one of these is attached to a specific group. So it's mainly just there for symmetry.
I don't think that's the right. I don't think limiting it to commuters or computers is a need there.
Do you think there's a need to
Then I would
increase
have to redo
library
the
hours?
bullet.
Yes, I do. That's why I requested it be put in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't say
Fridays.
anything about commuters. I think it's good for anybody in the community if they can go there on Fridays or on Sundays or whatever,
It is. I'm
Or
just
more
trying to be
evening hours.
specific with this format: vision, need, objective, strategy. And so
Right.
for the
Yeah.
objective of providing access to information technology tools, instruction, blah, blah, eliminate their provoke specific engagement. We like have something that we've targeted to each demographic. And so if we target that to a demographic, I don't have to rearrange bullet points and shunt it in somewhere else. Because if I do engage senior citizens, engage kids, engage staff, engage everybody, then why do I
Engage
have
the
any of those
community.
other
Exactly.
Engage
things?
the community.
But
Why can't you do that? I don't see the word community, you just have Douglas up there.
But we have our community, our community, our community, our community. Like it's,
Under 4A4.
you know what? I don't care. I don't care what y'all do with this. Just approve something so I can submit it to the MBLC and be eligible for grants. Please
I don't
God.
care. I don't think we should spend
I'm gonna
any more
step
time
out
on
and
this.
go to the restroom.
Okay. Would anybody mind if it's just changed to community as opposed to?
I like the word, I like commuter, because I think we're a bedroom community for the most part, and a lot of people aren't in town during library hours, so it's, I wouldn't, you could
It's not
add one.
excluding anybody,
Yeah,
it's
I
just.
You could add
and.
one, but don't leave, but I think, I like the word commuter, but commuters and others, I don't care, you know, you could add to it, but why not just say that, recognizing that some people aren't in town during the day?
All right, and others, I don't mind saying that, you know, after, so
In the
commuters
same
and,
spot.
say engage commuters and others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
All right,
Let's get this thing done.
all right, any other changes?
I'm not even gonna look.
All right, seeing none, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the long-range plan
That's
Oh,
the
we
one
have to wait
edit.
till the end.
of what?
So moved.
All right. Second,
Second?
any other further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so the big thing is change, just adding and others to engage commuters.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Oh, did we take reading out too? Is that the other
And
change?
take reading
Yeah,
out.
and take reading out, yeah.
Okay, so moving on to facilities use policy.
So we should read this, see if we approve it.
Yeah, it would be useful if we got these ahead of the meeting. Although I probably wouldn't have read it, so, so I guess it's fine.
I know, I do feel like we've been having really long meetings lately.
Yeah.
There's a lot of details.
We're reading the facilities.
Okay, we approved the long-range plan.
Okay, so what do I do? What do I do? with
All you
this?
need to do under add and others, engage commuters and others.
Okay, so I'm doing that. Everybody's good with vision, mission.
And
Yeah,
take
as long
out-
as you got reading taken out.
Take out reading.
Reading is taken out. I'm just gonna print this out. I'll let you know when it's ready because you need to sign it and then we can send it to the MBLC. The facilities use, so we're on to the next bullet point. So this is based on talking to other libraries and looking at what they have and making it specific to our library. I don't expect us to discuss this tonight because there's a lot here.
Right.
I just wanted to get it in everybody's hands as a first draft of a facilities use policy.
Okay.
Does he want us to
Okay.
We all
Make
agree,
our
we
own.
all agree with that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, so we don't have to talk about it anymore.
We don't. The one thing I will mention is that there is a tutoring policy at the end. Just so that doesn't catch you out of left field. It's pretty standard for libraries to, make all events be of a nonprofit nature. Which means you kind of have to have a separate waiver for private tutoring because that's actually a for-profit
Okay.
business. So, this kind of sets a structure out, so that we can still reserve the library for nonprofit use, but still allow tutoring.
So you want us to review all this for the next meeting, right?
Yes.
So
please.
that's 2 pages?
This looks like there's 4.
It's
together.
4 pages, because it has the facilities use
tutoring.
policy.
The applicant.
It has an application to use the Wallace room, which is the loft upstairs. So basically, if someone's gonna use the Wallace room, I would want just to have this available at the cert desk. They can fill out their name, address, the purpose they're requesting it, get an applicant staff signature, and then it's good for, a number of dates, so they don't have to fill it out every time they come. because we do have groups that use it like on a weekly basis. So that, gives us, that, and, it makes them, it basically gives us a recourse to kick them out if they're not being respectful to the environment. And so, if a group of teens wants to go up there, they can if they fill out the form. If they don't fill out the form, I will have their names so I can call their parents and tell them they have been naughty. The Carrick Room application is more extensive, and then the tutoring policy, that's all that's there.
So you want us to come back with any notes on that for next?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I can put it in a Google Doc too if you want, and you can edit it
That
that
would
way
be
since you
easy.
like editing it.
Yes, I like to edit. I knows what I mean.
Now, I noticed I said, or maybe I didn't put it on here, but I said, I was thinking about the Google Doc because I read it in my minutes. Did whatever I read in my minutes, did I rewrite in the minutes or not? Or where was the Google stuff?
Because we had a Google Doc for the long range plan, right? Is that what maybe what you're thinking?
No, it was
bylaws.
something.
It was,
Oh, the
bylaws.
bylaws.
Okay, did you read anything in Google Docs recently?
Not recently.
Yeah.
That was a
It's-
long time ago.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
had a volunteer transcribe the bylaws. And
Oh, that was
put
ours.
those
Yeah,
into-
yeah, yeah. That was our bylaws, but I thought there was something else that was Google Docs, but we'll figure it out later.
okay. Ready? Moving on to Library of Things.
I just want to table that for the time being
Okay.
because no one seems that interested in funding it.
Alright. Friends. News
Um,
from the Friends.
That we made a lot of money.
A crap ton of money.
Yeah. That's
And
exciting.
also, on another note, we have applied for grant money from both Walmart and Unibank to help fund the yoga programs. So, and did Dawn's email about yoga expand the presence of people there?
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite
Oh,
something. Yeah,
on,
that was very good.
Okay, good. I forgot I did that.
Yeah. We
On
should probably,
dynamic demos.
one or multiple of us repeat it every once in a while. Just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, share more of our stuff.
You know, what I could just, do you want me to even, I'm sure you guys are fully capable, but like at work, we've been doing like these little, okay, this is the proposed text that you put in your social media. I could like send it to somebody, like send it, someone take it on so it's not just coming from me.
Little press packets for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be good.
No, that's good.
'Cause
I'm
we all
glad
have
that,
our-
that
yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just not having the sign up required, I think that was a big help, cause then
I think
people
that-
don't
yeah.
have to,
Sign
they're
up,
free, they just
registration
can
is a
show
hindrance. It's
It
always a
is, yeah.
hindrance. And
'Cause
I'm
you
really
don't know.
trying to get Deb to drop registration for like summer reading and story time
Yeah.
and stuff.
Mhm.
It's hard to get her to let go of it.
Yeah, it just seems like the kids are a little more well attended though, right?
yeah.
In general, they're.
Well, the kids program is kind of flagging
Oh.
attendance in it, but I mean it's
Maybe it's that she'll have to do a test, right? If you don't
Yeah.
register, she'd like spike.
But I thought that weren't they saying at the school that the kid population was lower? The young
yeah, but they're
population?
so busy.
Yeah.
The school
Yeah.
keeps kids so busy with extracurriculars and
Parents do
whatnot.
too.
And yeah, I mean, it's just it's not like it used to be, where you could
No,
just go
just
smoke a
rock
pack of
yourself.
Newports and send your
Yeah.
kids outside to beat each other with sticks. You have to be engaged in their lives 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Nobody told me about that.
I know.
So it's like, how do
I
you
never
find
would've
time
signed
to
up.
get your kids to the library for programming whenever you're all pulled in these hundreds of different directions?
Alright.
And also, I mean,
start
under
picking
other,
kids
I
up.
hope we'll mention on camera the success of the bonfire too.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was in there somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked
well,
about
no.
the fire. Yep.
Yeah, but we're on camera.
Director's report.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
in the director's
it was in the
report.
director's report.
But again,
We had
it was
around
fun.
60 people there. We raised $317.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
All right.
Ephraim got to know everybody in town.
Oh, he was so cute.
That's great.
Come
I had
over.
an
Come have a
excellent
glass of
smoked
wine.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got quite a personality.
He is. He's a character.
So that goes to the Friends or to the library?
That's up to whatever Nick wants to do with it.
Should go towards a microscope.
Oh, you
Oh, a telescope or a microscope?
Microscope.
I have a ton of microscopes already.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
I might need to rent one out.
I just have to fix them up. I got them at
I'll
an
talk about
estate
that.
sale from like a hospital.
Do you have slides?
Oh my
Hmm?
Do you
god.
have slides?
I have a few pre-prepared slides. It's all sort of like I have a bunch of like works in progress up in like the loft because I was like, let's make it a good area for like STEM education and homeschooling stuff, and that was a flop. But I've still got stuff. But I've got like these microscopes that I got in an estate sale that have like various parts that aren't working. So I've got 3. I think make 2 that work,
I'll work on
and they're
that.
good ones. They're like laboratory microscopes, not like little toy ones. People are like, "You want this little toy microscope?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't want that piddly thing. Take it somewhere else."
Get the
That's
real-
awesome. I could use that on the farm a lot. That would be awesome.
What do you
Oh, you
look
do?
for?
Oh, just pathogens and fungus and stuff on the leaves. I can identify certain bugs. And
Oh,
We just sort of
interesting.
use general junk. Well, we have
Fix
a
microscope.
vineyard and stuff, so
Yeah.
it's just we.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's beyond organic.
yeah, I really.
I just drink the wine. So
I read an article. I read
and
the
I'm still
article.
kicking, so.
That was a great art.
Yeah, it was a good piece. That was a really good piece.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was good.
Did you mention how much they made at the Friends of the Book sale?
You did.
$1,329.50.
incredible.
That's almost double, I think, our previous record.
That was great.
Yeah.
So what did,
Well, yeah, and then we get what?
oh, was this when it said whatever Chris brought back today?
Oh, she brought
It was
back
like
$1.60
$1.60 or something.
Oh, but I was
and then
wondering
Kate
if,
gave me $20.
okay, it wasn't there at the end, I was wondering, cause she said she
So
was
it's
gonna
about
take those
$13.50.
plants.
Yeah. Oh no. She was so enthusiastic about it,
That was
and
nice.
which was great. And so she said, "So are we ready for Oktoberfest?"
I know.
And I said, yeah.
Oh,
And
she
she
wants
said-
your plants to
Well, so
polish for planting.
yeah, well, yeah, but so I don't know what she's planning on doing, but I've made a couple of suggestions that if we could get out the word that people separate their bulbs right now for fall
Yeah, I was
planting.
talking to her about that too. But
Yeah.
Yeah, how do we,
And also, I went up to plant corn, so then I came back down today before the rain started and wrote her another note. I just planted corn. You could have corn stalks for sale.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's true.
do you, how wide do you wanna,
And,
Oh,
yeah,
pumpkins! That'd be
Yeah,
so fun.
yeah, but I don't-
do that, but
Yeah, I don't think I didn't plant any pumpkins, but I had
I didn't either.
some nifty looking squash. I mean, we could do almost, because the farmer's market's not gonna be down there, it's gonna be up at your place, but if, on Oktoberfest, I don't know if anybody's taking over the vegetables that were at,
what we're doing.
the Historical Society.
Yeah, I don't think
I
like
mean,
any
we
plants
could
over
do,
there.
bring
Oh, to
in
do
whatever,
it during Oktoberfest?
yeah, whatever squashes that we have hanging around.
Right. We could do a giant zucchini
Yeah,
test or something.
yeah, right. Whack the, whack the trustees.
I don't know, speaking of farmer markets and stuff, if any of y'all would be interested, but I'm going to be looking for volunteers to man a library presence at the farmer's market this summer, since the farmer's market's going to be at
Yeah.
the farm instead of downtown. So like a couple little reading times.
I'd be very
or whatever
interested
thinking.
in helping with that. For at least a year I've been saying it and we've never really made solid plans, but I'd be happy to help out with that. Not,
That's
all the time, but we can set up some kind of schedule.
Yeah, for the 16 weeks. so
Yeah, I'm
before-
going to try to do it most of the time, but I mean, I'm not going to be able to do it every Saturday. How many Saturdays is it?
16.
Wow.
16 Saturdays? Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
So if everybody took
I did not know
one
what I
or
was
two.
committing to. I take it back.
There's no way I'm reading to children.
I'm not either. I don't like kids.
Use a
That's why mine are
microphone.
grown.
You get some of the summer reading volunteers to do that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
the senior,
Teenagers who need
yeah,
projects and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
The
honor
high
students.
caliber ones.
Well, I
The high
spent
caliber.
45
The
years
ones that can read.
reading to the little children,
National Honor
so
Society kids again. They gotta do 20 summer hours.
you can
There
handle
you
it.
go.
It's gonna be hard getting the kids to sit down for that long. I just did a tour
20
for
hours.
some of the youngest Boy Scouts, and I couldn't even explain stuff to them. They didn't even care.
Yeah, just running around.
Yeah, but
Yeah. You gotta reel-
blanket
you gotta reel 'em in.
stuff,
yeah.
a little chair, a little clock that says, we'll read a story then,
some
and then
sedatives.
your
And a
parents
helper to
can
wrangle them
can
in.
drop you off there and have at least a good 7.5 minutes of
Shopping time.
unoccupied time to go shop.
Yeah.
You get duck eggs.
What'd you say earlier? Cigarettes and sticks?
Cigarettes and sticks.
Maybe you need to bribe them. You're like, if you're quiet for 5 minutes, at the end you'll get
Corn.
whatever. Yeah, you can all
A little
Have the
packet of chicken
chickens.
pellets to
Actually,
put.
both
Yeah,
my
well,
kids
that,
love
that
corn.
is an interesting point. We went to this place up in Canada skiing, but we did cross-country skiing, and Evan had to rent some skis, and they gave him a little pack of sunflower seeds or something.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and so then there was an outdoor fire as we were going through this whole trail thing. And that's, you stopped there, you took off your skis, you went, whew, and sat down, and then you put the seeds in your hand, and they had all these chickadees just coming and landing on your hand
Oh,
and
yes.
eating it. But it might be worthwhile, I mean, the friends probably would pay for something like that. I can't speak for all the friends, but if you gave free food out to, for the kids that are supposed to listen for 7.5 minutes, that they would get free seeds
Yeah.
that they could
To feed the guinnias.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Some kind of, whatever the bribe
Yeah,
is.
good things.
yeah.
Usually bribable.
Keep the guinea hens around. They've been going down like the streets to other people's houses now.
Are any of them like tame enough to hold?
You don't want to hold a guinea hen.
What about the ducks?
Oh.
No.
Why would you
So-
want to hold these things? A chickadee, I mean, up in Canada.
So I'm just thinking of like a duck, a story time with a duck.
That would be. I could train it. You
There
have
was
to
a
keep them.
woman years ago, and
I
I had
she
kids at
probably
my
not
house
still with
today
us,
and they
but
wanted
she
to
did
pet
mother
all the
goose.
animals. It's like, no,
And she
they
was
don't do
so
that.
good. And she had a goose, and she had the most gigantic lop-eared bunny. She said it was Peter Rabbit. And he was this big tan lop-eared bunny. She brought him in a wagon, and she'd read Peter Rabbit, and he would sit there, and she'd go around the circle with the wagon. They couldn't, he was huge, he filled up the wagon.
Yeah.
So she'd go around the circle with the wagon, and the kids as they came by could pet him.
Wow.
And they sat for the longest
Oh,
time.
there you go.
Because she had on her costume and she was, she really looked the
Yeah.
part, and she was a good storyteller.
Nice to look at.
But that was
Did
pretty
you get
cool.
these?
Anyhow,
So
moving
we
right
get a
along.
rabbit, and
Yeah.
if you're
We have
good
two.
for the one
Yeah,
story
we got a
time, you
rabbit
get to
already.
feed the rabbit, and if you come to all the story times and are good for all of them, you get to eat the rabbit.
Right, yeah. I'll
Full
cook it for them even.
How about a possum?
I haven't had
That'd be
possum.
interesting.
Okay. Just digging in a little bit. I'm sorry.
So I was looking at the garden beds out front,
A woody.
and yeah, it's insane. So I'm gonna be taking out a lot of like the lilacs and stuff. So I don't want anyone to be surprised because what's happening is they're growing so tall that you can't prune them down.
Right.
So they were just let go for too long. So worst comes to worst, I'll try to salvage what I can. And
Well, you just have a conversation with Ricky Colanero, he'll put you at ease.
yeah, I did.
he's-
I talked to him and we
Did
went
you?
over everything. And
Yeah.
he's just like, yep, they're.
Yeah, he was
'Cause-
fed up with them, so,
Yeah. So I'm just gonna clear a lot of it. And
yeah.
it will look
No
nice.
one's gonna care whatever you do to the plants.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. I just want to make sure I
Yeah.
don't get yelled
Yeah.
at.
Bring a goat.
Just save that weed on the corner because
Yeah.
it's a rare mustard.
No.
What, the poison ivy?
I was
There's a very
kind of-
beautiful mustard flower.
I
down
did
the
see
corner,
that. Yeah.
I'm totally.
There is. Yeah. It's very cool at everything
Do
that's
we
from
have
the
any other
sedums
old
and-
business?
Yeah.
Other old business? No? How about new business?
I've got 5 things. I have nothing. Please, no.
Alright. Next meeting is scheduled for June
It was
25th.
challenging having
June
this like
25th
right
is
after
good.
the one.
I know.
I know.
I'm tired.
I mean, I
I'm
just
really,
was
really
dead.
tired and cranky.
Alright, so
Yes, we spent.
Because we had the bonfire on Saturday night,
Digging.
or Friday night was the
Friday
No,
night.
mine's
bonfire.
all
And
done.
then Saturday morning was
I'd say
the book from
90%
plant
done
sale.
with it.
I've got 5
And
more tomato
We
plants
hauled
too,
away
which
3
I
CRV
didn't, which I
loads
took
of
back
books
from
and
the
2
tree.
paper
I have some,
books.
I have
Just to clear out the friend's room, which
cherry
had been
tomatoes.
stock gone.
and peppers.
So I was tired after that, and then I had to spend
And-
like 2.5 uninterrupted days with my
Something
children.
else.
Oh, yeah. Well, I saved some room in
I'm trying to
our
tell
garden
you.
that I never had
And
any
Mel
room in,
is-
and I made up
No,
make it
the
bigger
rest,
this
is the
year.
camera still going? Or
Well,
is
my
it-
husband built 2 raised beds. So
Oh, we didn't say
everything in
adjourn.
there. I just love it.
Oh no, we got to adjourn. We got to
Oh, I
adjourn.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Here a second?
Second.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.